and it's their intrinsic
And then,
nature.
this food basically robs.
Sound feasible, sound like everybody, thanks for watching. Now, I really want to get into the history that we have been taught, over the years. Recently, we can honestly say, within our lifetime, since we're going to elementary school, people who are in my age bracket, for that matter, anybody who's over 30, we know what the history books said in school. We know that we didn't hear a lot about our real history as far as African people. So the thing is, will they change the history books? Now, the thing that you have to consider is this. We know that they hide a lot of history. We know that at one point in school, they did teach a little of African American history as far as the African Americans who played roles in the American Revolution and things like that. So recently, and I shouldn't even say recently, we know for years they have been uncovering and discovering the facts, the accomplishments of African people, African American people as well. And the history books have not changed to reflect the findings of many prominent people. So you have a lot of scholars, you have a lot of PhDs, a lot of people in Europe, as well as here in the Americas, who have discovered unbelievable things about African history, and yet the curriculum is not reflecting that, and is basically causing the misconception that still exists among European Americans and Europeans alike, and for really everybody, black people as well, African Americans as well. So the thing is, since African Americans and America is not taught about the kingdoms that existed in Africa, the accomplishments of the ancient Egyptians and the fact that they were in fact Africans, and this has been proven time and time again, but we still have this debate of what color was the Egyptians, and people are trying to claim who they are when there's no debate. It's a fact when you go to Kemet that they were clearly African, and they describe themselves as Africans in the tomb of Seti I and the tomb of Ramses III. So we don't even have to really get into that. Yes, in fact, there were white citizens in ancient Kemet. This is a fact. We know once the Ptolemaic era came into existence that there were Greeks. But a lot of people have to realize that the Greeks and the ancient Egyptians did live together for a while before the Persians invaded Egypt. So, there are things about history that are not being taught. And this is leading to a lot of misconceptions and errors among a lot of people. So the thing is, it seems as if the powers that be wants to sort of cover up the past, of course, as you can imagine. So, when you look at the fact that we see a lot on television about Hitler, I mean, you can't turn up and down the TV stations without seeing something that has to do with Hitler and the Nazis and that whole era. So this is promoted a lot on television. And we're talking about something very unbelievably terrible that happened to a group of people, that happened to the Jews. The Holocaust was unbelievable. Everybody has seen, what took place during that time. The thing is, this history is not hidden. It is a very uncomfortable piece of history, but it's promoted so much as to show the Germans in a negative light. You go to Germany now, there's no trace of that. There's no trace of Hitler and everything that took place during that time. They want you to come to Germany and believe that, hey, all that crazy shit that happened in the 40s, that wasn't us. And we know that the Germans around that time, many of them, how they felt about Hitler and the whole ideology that goes along with that. So, it's hard for a lot of people to believe that just went away, because Hitler went away, and it just seemed like, okay, Hitler's gone, let's act right, let's try to fit in with everybody else and try to get people to forget what took place, but that history is not hidden, it is shown. Hitler is promoted, so that's a constant reminder for Jewish people that we have to constantly keep seeing this Hitler, this whole Nazi aspect. I mean, if you look at Family Guy, a lot of times they dive into the whole Hitler thing. So, Jews have to see this. Now, yes, us, again, African Americans, we have to see, what took place as far as slavery. There's a lot of slave movies coming out talking about slavery and what happened during slavery, everything like that. The whole Nat Turner insurrection, that movie came out. We know 12 Years a Slave, Roots. But, we are not seeing movies about the accomplishments of African people, the kingdoms and things like that. They are not showing movies to show, what we did before slavery. And this is like, something that we just constantly keep asking for and not getting. Now, of course, and if you ever seen Schindler's List, in Schindler's List, they showed the fact that the Jews, before Hitler took over, they were successful. They had PhDs. They was rich. They were living really good before Hitler came and destroyed everything. And it showed their success. So it's not that the Jews have to, defend their existence before, the whole Nazi war and everything. It's documented. It's shown who they was and the success that they had. We're not afforded the same luxury. We're not afforded the same teachings to the people as far as African history. So the whole question is, and believe it or not, this is up for debate. And there are a lot of people who are pushing to have the history books changed in America to reflect true history and the history that has been shown. The African Americans were not only here in the Americas first, but are the original royal family. We're talking about before any European monarchy or kingdom came into existence. You had African kingdoms. You had pharaohs, the Nisut, before any of that came into existence, which shows clearly that they copied. So there is a huge working, and I'm going to get this information out as soon as I get more information on it. But it's a lot of people who are fighting to get the history books changed to reflect the true history of African Americans. So this generation, they're going to be ignorant if they want to, but so the next generation, this generation coming up, can see the truth and facts about African people, and we can, kind of bridge this gap between ignorance and reality, between ignorance and truth, so people can see the real accomplishments of African people and not look at us as, slaves that ended up in a country full of people who don't want them, but to show the fact that we were here first and we became slaves on our own land. So this is something that is being highly debated, and hopefully we see something huge as far as the history books being changed. So now this raises a very interesting question when you dig into this whole thing. And this is about the whole, spoils of war. What does it mean to conquer a people? Are the conquerors obligated to speak the real truth about the conquered? And this is the thing we always say, history is written by the conquerors, not the conquered. And the thing is this, America is portrayed as this beautiful country, bring me your sick and poor, and, America full of immigrants and things of that nature. And we have to realize that America, the powers that be don't want to show themselves in this light as conquerors. But this is also something that Europeans have to make a choice on. How do you want to be seen and viewed? How do you want as a race, as a people, to be seen? Are you going to let a select few decide how the future sees your race? And the thing is, when you dig into that, what you see is the conquest by Europeans over, every people of color, on the planet. And this is something that we see. It's just something that you cannot hide. So the thing is, are the Europeans, are they simply saying, you know what, we conquered you motherfuckers, get over it, this is our land, we letting you live here, we letting you stay here, we really can just kill you all, we took over, this is our shit, we don't have to explain shit, we're going to make history the way we want it, we're going to tell our side of the story, we're not going to show what you did, who cares, we took over, it's ours, get over it. And believe it or not, I have argued with many KKK members, many white supremacists and racists about this same fact. And they have said the same thing. Get over it. We took y'all shit. Get over it. And that's basically right when you get down to it, what we are seeing. Now, they can sit there and say, we took y'all shit. Get over it. But You can't say that and then try to put on this front to the world as if you are good people, and we care about other countries and what happens to them. So we're going to go invade the country and defeat the terrible, bad people to help these people in this far country. You can't say, fuck it, it's conquest and get over it when your slogan is, save the world and everything like that. So either, you're going to tell the truth about the history and what happened, or you're trying to hide it and cover it up for what reason. And this is what I get into in my videos. Everybody know who watches me. I get into the true history and why they want to cover up everything and what they are truly hiding. And when you really dig into it and see what they're hiding, then you see that everything that they have, the foundation that they stand on, they stole. And this is something that the history books must reflect. And not just that, people need to understand and know and stop looking at black people, African people, as being just this poor, sick group of people who don't get it, who had no sophistication, no accomplishments, who didn't build or do anything in history. This is ludicrous, and people need to spread the truth and the information that who we really are and our true accomplishments, and the simple fact that our real accomplishments have been taken from us and have been passed off as European accomplishments. And this is the facts. And will the history books reflect this in the future? And this is something that we must make happen as a people. We must understand this truth, learn it. This is why I do what I do. This is why I try to put the truth out as much as possible, for people to really know what took place and to understand the true history of African people. Now, the crazy part is we have books. We have plenty of books. So many scholars, black, white, Latino, Asian, European, doesn't matter. So many scholars have written books on the truth, and that's a fact. So we can't just say, we need to write more books, or we need to put out more books and stuff like that. It doesn't matter if the books are not being taught. Just think now. When I was in school, even when I was in college, I had no clue that the books that I've been reading over the last 12 years, 15 years almost, I had no clue that these books existed and said the things that they say, because you have in your mind this whole ideal of what America is, or what the world is, and then you read books and they completely change all that, and it makes you question, what is America? It makes you question, what's going on, what's up, which basically led me on my whole journey of, discovering, trying to find out the truth about everything. Because when you start reading books that's talking about, the government and this whole system and structure and these people that existed that were wiped out and, kingdoms and stuff like that, the question is why. I talk about why, of course, in my series. So the thing is, the people, the children must understand this, especially our young black kids, especially young white kids, because when we all grow up, when they grow up, they're going to need to know the true history, so one doesn't look at the other, in a certain light. And this is the problem that we have been seeing, because white kids are taught certain things, and they are taught basically, everything that's going to make the European look like the greatest race of people on the face of the earth that ever existed. And this is how a lot of people just feel. They just feel like, Europeans, we go save people and we do this and we do that. And they don't look at the real history. I was arguing with a white guy who was talking about how Europeans, white people are the only ones, white people have the Peace Corps, we have PETA and Save the Whales, and black people don't do shit. They're not trying to save this planet. White people are always trying to save the planet, this and that, and we don't see other races participating. And the thing is, you guys have destroyed the planet. That's why it's you who are saving it. And not to say it in that way, but it's the truth. Factually, we don't just say shit to try to sound, anti-white or so-called racist. It's the truth. And when you go and search the facts, this is what you'll find out. And the thing is, yeah, of course, you guys should be out there rescuing and saving, and because you guys destroy shit. And it's just the history of your people. And the thing is, what the bottom line is that a history that you are comfortable with? And I ask a lot of people, white people who send me messages, who some of them come out and say that. They say, I'm not comfortable with that history. I want to be a part of that history. I don't want to be a part of the history that wiped out races of people, that enslaved races of people, that killed and murdered all across this world. I don't want to accept that history as a European, as a white person, and some people do not. And this is the trick. Because, you get so many white people who jump on board as, yeah, we're the master race and, white people rule the world. And they don't understand what they are accepting. So again, you can't 1 minute be talking about saving something, saving a group of people or saving animals, and then the next minute jump on a whole bandwagon saying, white people, yes, we rule the world, get over it. We conquered, we took over, we are the dominant race. You have to pick or choose. Either you're going to be a racist, either you're going to stick up and defend and support this whole racist, dominating, destructive group of people who is basically leading your race, or you're going to, go to the side of truth, the right side, right and wrong, basically what it comes down to. And a lot of people are accepting the wrong side, not understanding what that means. So yes, there are still a lot of white people who are pissed off about Trump, about that whole thing. But at the end of the day, it's a lot of white people who are saying, you know what, he's a white guy, I'm white, everything's fine, everything's going to be okay for me. But you have people of color who are in fear right now. They are, it's like knowing when your dad come home and you're going to get that ass whipping, when your mom come home and you're going to get that ass whipping, everybody's like, oh my God, what is going to happen when Trump get in the White House? It's just like an uncomfortable feeling for a lot of people. And it's a lot of people really actually trying to leave the country, actually thinking about moving out, the ones who can afford to. But a lot of people who have, accepted Trump as president, they are basically saying, I'm white, this is America, we run this thing, everything's going to be fine, I'm just going to keep doing what I'm doing. There's a sense of comfortability that you can have in this country being white, and we all know that's a fact. And we have been far too uncomfortable in the country that is originally ours. And it's a shame that we have to feel like that in this country that is ours. So that comfortability comes along with a sense of ignorance and a pride and a sense of ignorance that a lot of Europeans have, a lot of white people have here, feeling like this is their country. The simple fact that white people say to black people, if you don't like this country, then leave. That tells you right there that there's a sense of ownership of America that they feel that they have. This is our country. This is us. This is ours. We own it. If you don't like it, get out of here. So this shows you that they feel on the inside that this is their country, that they own it. Understanding or not understanding everything that comes along with that. Because if you're saying get out of my country, then you are going along with the whole feeling and notion of, we conquered this shit. It's ours. Get the fuck out of here. We killed a bunch of people and we took their shit and this is ours. If you don't like it, get the fuck out of here. And either you're going to accept that and stand on that and just label yourself a racist and a monster. Because that's what a person who really feels like that should be labeled. Or you're going to, step to the side and say, you know what, I don't agree with all this shit, but, I think it should be fair and equal treatment the way that the government tries to portray that it is. Or you're going to keep it real and just say, you know what, get the fuck out of here, this is our country, we took over. So either this whole system is going to have to take on that persona, take that whole thing, or they can keep doing what they've been doing, walking around like the shit ain't never happened, everything's fine for everybody, or at least tell the truth. Tell the truth. Yeah, you took over, it's your shit, you got it, you own it, but don't leave us out in the cold saying that we wasn't shit before you did it. And this is what's going on. They're saying we wasn't shit. We're not even going to talk about who you really was before we took your shit. And this is what's going on. And this is what has to change. And education is the key to that. So this is why it's important that black people understand, learn true black history. Not just, the Dr. King and Malcolm X and everything like that, but real black history. I mean, we call, white people, Europeans, when we are the original so-called Europeans. We occupied that land long before them. And we know that the Grimaldi man proves that. We have to really start teaching our children the real history. Even if they're not teaching it in school, they need to know it so they can at least stand up for themselves when they get, to that point, if it ever happens. If they're not going to teach our kids the true history, our true history, we have to teach them. We have to. You got to teach them so they don't stand there silent when people talking about slavery, when people are talking about black people didn't accomplish anything, when they're talking about we wasn't kings and everything like that, you know, and it's happening too much where people are silent due to lack of knowledge. You know, they know in their head it's not right, but they don't have the words or the knowledge to put it together to say, oh, wait a minute. No, we had kings here. Wait a minute. We had Mali. I mean, even though there was Muslim, we had a whole kingdom there. You know, the Songhai people is a kingdom. You know, even though it was Muslim, but it still was a kingdom that existed. You know, before, you know, so-called America. So before the colonies. So I mean, that is a proven fact that everybody knows. Everybody knows this. I mean, it's something that small. It's we need to start teaching. We need to start letting our children understand that Christianity, Islam, religion is not the only way. That before this stuff even existed, we were kings. That we ruled and everything was fine, and we didn't have to drop to our knees and pray to some white Jesus or to some Allah, some unseen God. You know, some bullshit. And this is the fact. So I know people, soon as you start getting into the religion, everything changed. I have people send me messages or leave comments saying, yo, I was feeling you, bro, until you said fuck Jesus or forget Islam and stuff like that. Then I checked out. I mean, that's just a whole nother conversation, you know, to deal with people of that kind of ignorance, because they obviously don't understand that keep us down as well. I knew I was doing my job when my son came to me and broke down the whole Noah's Ark story. I mean, he broke it down. He basically was like, well, wait a minute, Dad. The Ark was supposed to be smaller than the Titanic. How could they fit every animal on it? I mean, he asked the questions that a rational mind should ask without me saying really anything to him. And the thing is, you know, I told my son, I teach him about Islam, Christianity. I want him to learn these things, to understand and know them, you know, without giving him a choice as to what to worship, just to see if he can figure it out on his own, which he has. And he feel like, you know, it doesn't make sense, it's bogus. You know, when you pray, nothing happens. Everything he's been taught about the religion, he's seen on his own that it's a failure. Now, our children will see this. The problem is, you grown-ups keep smacking them upside the head and telling them that they are wrong when they are right, and you know they are right. You know, oh, don't talk against the Holy Spirit. Don't talk against Jesus. You know, things of that nature. And it happened to me. When I was asking questions in church, you know, you get a shut up. Or you get a pluck. You know, boom, shut up. It happens. And we do this to our kids, and we have to stop. At least, if you don't know what to say to them, don't hit them. To make it, you know, to put that mark into their brain that this is wrong. I've been hit, so it's wrong. I'm not going to deal with it no more. You know what I'm saying? Because that sticks with you. You know what I'm saying? And you stick with that religion thinking that, you know, this was so right, or I was so wrong that I got hit. So I might as well not talk against the Bible. Let me figure what this whole thing is about. We have to start teaching the truth, because if they're not going to change the history books, then the same stuff is going to continue, people. And this is what we're seeing. So we're going to see this debate a lot more soon. A lot more people are going to be pushing for it. And we'll see, I mean, how it goes. We don't know who Trump is putting into office. We don't know who's already there, who has... I mean, obviously, people have continued this whole thing about miseducating black people, miseducating, you know, America, for that matter. I know it's things that have to do with budget. You know, we say that, you know, the school district budget reflects the amount of taxes that zip code brings in. So if it's a poor zip code, then they're not going to have adequate equipment and books to give them, you know, the right information or the tools they need to excel in school. And this is one of the problems that we're seeing. So it's just something that's going to have to change. And if they're not going to change it on that official academic level or what have you, we have to change it in our own homes and seek the truth, you know, pursue it and put it out. I hate seeing black people ignorant. I hate seeing black people stuck, I should say. Not so much ignorant, but stuck when it comes to questions on their own history. And make us look real fucking bad when we pushing for all this change and we fucking fighting. We've been fighting for so long, and we don't even know what the fuck we fighting for. You don't even know the answers to the questions. So when somebody wants to say to you that you don't have no fucking history outside of slavery, some people don't even know what to say to that. I mean, what do you say? They don't know about the kingdoms. They don't know about ancient Kemet, deep enough. They don't know about Mali or Songhai. They don't know about the kingdoms along the Swahili coast. They don't know about the Kerma kingdom and everything like that, the Nook. And, even the great Congo kingdom. There's so many kingdoms that exist in Africa. And kingdoms that still exist. There's still kings to this day. Queens as well. And, they looked at it as primitive. They looked at it as don't even take them seriously. They're nobody. They got bones in their lip and they lip disc and don't take these people seriously, even though they are royalty. And the American leaders take them seriously because they go visit with them. Only you don't see that all over the news like you see when they go visit Queen Elizabeth. They don't talk about that. But every once in a while, if we turn on C-SPAN, not C-SPAN, what is it, RT, you might see that. RT usually put out some real shit. They'll show the truth. Oh, well, the President Obama or another prime minister of some other country went to Africa to visit these royal people. And a lot of us don't even know who the hell they are. So it's just things that we got to start repairing on our own side as far as the history of African people. You got to understand what I'm saying. Like, we got to start repairing that and fixing that. Because, it seems like, from what I'm seeing, and you probably see this as well, some corporations and companies are trying to bridge that gap. I'm seeing a hell of a lot more commercials that include black people. Commercials that I usually see that is predominantly white all the time. I'm seeing, black families, black people. So it seems like the corporations are trying to catch up and trying to fix what they know is wrong. I don't know if that's like a marketing plan or somebody set that in motion or what that shit is all about. But I'm seeing it now more than ever when you look at TV. And I don't watch TV that much, which is why I'm saying I'm always seeing it when I watch sports because I'm a football guy. So I see it a lot. I see a lot of commercials, just really catering to black people and showing black people interracial couples and things like that a lot on TV. So, that's being repaired, and at least kids, black kids, white kids that's growing up now can see these commercials and see this interaction or this action of African people, African American people growing up doing the same things that they do. Because, me growing up, you look at TV, it will make you believe that black people don't hug each other. Black people don't have warm, touching moments. Black people don't do stuff or tell each other that they love them or fight for their women and all kinds of stuff like that. You usually only see, beautiful things like that with white families. We didn't have no superheroes when I was growing up. Things like that. All the superheroes white. What's going on? So we have to start recreating and really fixing the problems that we seen when we was growing up as far as what the textbooks talk about and the whole common misconception of black people. And we need to really, arrogantly, I should say, really arrogantly talk about our history and our accomplishments and the things that we have done. Don't let it, cast one doubt in your head about the things that we have done and accomplished, on this planet. And we need to really yell it, talk about it, and what somebody want to say, hey, the first black, as I always say, I really hate that phrase. I know it's a good thing. We need to celebrate everything black people do. I hate that, the first black. We did it. So what? You don't hear the first white. We did this shit. It's not like we can't do it. When you say the first black, it's as if, we were so stupid that we couldn't have done this shit before. When we know we were just being held back. We wasn't allowed to get in. We weren't given the tools needed to come into this whole situation that we are now being praised about. So, same thing with Tiger in golf. Tiger, he's half Thai, but he get a lot of praise of him being half African American in golf. But you don't see that many brothers on the golf course. We know that Zuckerberg and we know that Bill Gates, had advanced teaching and coding and everything like that, which is why they were able to do what they did. And we're not given that same kind of teaching, and we all understand this. And I talked about this before. So the whole thing is, we got to really start pounding our history and talk about our history more and teaching our history. I like when I go to the barbershop brothers in there talking about history, Black history, and things that we have accomplished, things that they have found out about Africa. I love that stuff. When we talking about that kind of stuff instead of sports and instead of politics and things like that. We need to talk about this stuff more. We need to get it out there more and have it be known more. The true accomplishments of African people, and this is something that I look forward to continue to put out and try to get people to understand a lot more and to learn a lot more. So this is just something that I feel like I have to do, and I have the knowledge, and I want people to have this knowledge as well. And I'm going to continue to put it out on YouTube so people can get this information and learn as much as you can, read books, and just try to understand the truth despite what we have been taught. And that's going to be the thing that really changes the feature of how we are perceived as African people. Because, as I said, and it's due to the willful ignorance of a lot of people, Europeans and white people in America, who just don't want to believe and accept the fact that we've done so many great things, or they don't want to accept the fact that their race stole so much from ours. It makes them feel some type of way, even though they personally had nothing to do with it. So it's just things that once we put out and we put into the brains, the minds of people, and show them that not only do we have African scholars writing about the true accomplishments of African people, we have white scholars, we have European scholars and Asian scholars as well, not just constantly in Africa documenting and writing books on things, but putting the stuff out and trying to teach the world the true history. And that's one of the things that I shut down a lot of people with right there, especially racist white people who comment or send me messages. I shut them down with that. Okay, you don't have to take my advice for it. Don't take my word. I'm going to give you a book by many Europeans, many white folks who's saying the same thing that I said. And you tell me, am I just saying it because I'm Black? And this is something that I always talk about. I always say, we're not just doing this stuff because we Black. It ain't about that. If we were given the same treatment and the same credit about our accomplishments as Europeans and other races, then we wouldn't have to do what we are doing and trying to get out the truth. And that's all we're trying to do. So this was my quick video. I wanted to talk about this stuff a little bit while I'm out here, and I come out here. This is a good place to just meditate and stretch and things like that, and it's just beautiful up here. I like coming up here. Anybody who's ever in California, in Culver City, I mean it's you can't miss this place. You can't miss it. If you drive past La Cienega Boulevard, you can't miss this area. You can see the mountain and everything up here. A lot of people come up here and hike. You see people out here meditating and doing like Tai Chi and stuff like that. It's an amazing place, and I get good energy from this area, so I come up here a lot. So, again, quick video on just history and true history that we need to really put out and talk about and get it into the minds and masses of people, our real accomplishments and things that we have done, so we can stop being looked at as just these niggas, just people from Africa who are in the country that don't want them. You didn't do anything. This is what people are saying. I mean, this whole Donald Trump thing has got people tripping, and they forgetting real history, and they forgetting what we are proven to have done on this planet. So a lot of people is real high and mighty in their white skin, believing that they are the masters of the universe when they are recipients of the theft of African accomplishments and other people of color's accomplishments. And that's all it is. Either you're going to accept that fact and shut up about it, or you're going to say, I don't want nothing to do with it, and help us to put out the truth of the real accomplishments of African people. And I put a video out about this. It's on YouTube, and I talk about this stuff a lot. But I think that due to Trump and everything like that, and this whole atmosphere of racism and racial tension right now, I think people more than ever need to understand that, hey, stop playing. We ain't no stupid slaves. We ain't no slaves that just ended up in a country that didn't want us, and we should go back to Africa where we belong. It's not the case. Do some research, find out who we are and who you really are before you open your mouth. So that's my video. I want to thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next video.